and welcome to Humankind. We're going to be checking this out today. I believe this current version is open until the start of May. I think it's a few days into May when it closes. This is the Victor Open Dev that we'll be looking at. It allows us to go up until the modern era. I've had a little bit of a go off camera, just to get familiar with it. And if you've played games such as Civilization, it's kind of in that same vein. So it's a typical 4X game, but with a few little twists here and there. And the first twist you'll see when we get in is there's a sort of pre-game era. As I mentioned, it's the Neolithic era, where you take your tribe and you hunt and grow and sort of live off the land for a while until you grow enough to become a nation. Well, not even a nation, you start out as a single city. So it's another things that I've got as far as the ancient era off camera, but you start sort of, rather than playing as a single nation at the beginning, you pick a nation, but you then sort of slowly over time sort of attach different cultures to yourself throughout history and create a sort of amalgamation of the various different tribes and civilizations that existed through time. So I'm going to keep the difficulty just on Metropolis, which is the default, while I'm just still getting to grips with the game. I'm going to begin. So when it just loads here, if you've played other 4X games, so it's essentially, to my knowledge, I've not played Endless Legend, and I know that was their previous game from this studio. It's supposedly somewhat similar to that, but also kind of crossed with Civilization 6. So, well, any Civilization really, but the Civilizations franchise. And as you can see, we've got current era Neolithic, nomadic tribe as our culture, so we're kind of essentially cultureless to begin with, but it all starts coming together as we move through the various eras. I do like this art though in the background. We've got like this sort of nice alternate history thing where they're all running down different characters throughout various time periods. Quite nice. When I was playing off camera though, I did notice it's got a very fast end turn, much faster than Civ. So when we do get in here, it will start to go quite quickly. I'm expecting the Neolithic era will probably be done within 30 minutes. So it'll make for a nice starter video, and then we can move on from there and break up future eras into 2 or more videos if need be. Right, here we go. So, similar layout if you've played other 4X games. You've got your announcements and notifications down here. This is where they'll appear. We have we've got some wildlife. So as I've mentioned, you need to grow your tribe. So we have the nomad special ability, as you can see on the unit card there at the bottom. Gathering food through fighting and ransacking allows us to multiply. There are other nomad units later in the game. The Huns, I believe, get some. And I'm going to try to move towards the Huns just so we can have a bit of craziness later on. But basically, as we get into fights and pillage tiles, we will increase the number of units. So as you can see, if we get 20 food, we'll get an additional unit. So rather than go for, well, we might go for this deer now. Well, we'll go for this deer. You'll notice as well immediately, so we've got, it's very different to combat in other 4X games. So we can see sort of like a guess as who's going to win at the top. So your side is stronger overall, and we can start a battle. We have a deployment phase, and then you kind of take it in turns. So another thing as well that you have to take into account with these battles, so where you choose to fight is very important. This white line going along here is a kind of border to the battlefield, and units cannot leave that area during the fight, as you can see, so I can't move outside of this. It's very important as well to keep in mind different terrain. So as you can see, we've got different levels of height. So this is at one level, this is a height level above that, and we can get a height level above that, and another level above that up here. And it actually does kind of take into account height with the different terrain you find. Like down here we've got coast, we've got plains on this level, and then it's more rocky outcrops up towards here, and we're getting mountains and such appear. So we'll attack the deer. It should probably be dead next turn. And I'm still, these deers, by the way, are absolutely devastating on your units. Like that killed at least like 3 or 4 guys there. You know, I'm thinking about when I saw the first boss in Valheim, and it's just this big deer. I'm just imagining now if you of just these deers wandering about with just like half of your tribe impaled on the antlers. Anyway, one thing I will praise this game for so far, if I click the end turn button, boom, turn's done. Doesn't take forever. Very nice. We'll see how that holds up later on. But for now, they're very quick turn times. Also something that it's not got in Civ unless you change the key bindings. You can move around with WASD. Very nice. So, we've got this tooltip here. So we get era stars. Right? Now, we have a goal here to get 1 era star. So if I click on my tribe, we need 1 to enter a new era. So we can have 5 population to get 1 star. We can discover curiosities to gain 10 science. That will give us another star. And hunter, we can hunt 3 animals. We'll only need 2 more, and that will give us an additional star. What these stars do is they allow us to move to the next era. So as soon as we have 1 of these, we can move along. They also, as well, give us fame points down here. Fame, so if the game goes on too long and no one's just killed everyone else, the fame points act as your score, and it will be determined based upon the score at the end of, I think it was turn 300, but don't hold me to that, I'm not fully certain. But later on, there will be a turn-based victory. If we go on too many turns, it will just add up the scores, see who's in the lead. So, I will move up here. We can get, this is something as well, just like on Civ, if you move to higher elevation terrain, you will be able to see further. So because we're here, we can now see over all these lowlands. We can also get into another battle with this deer, and we'll try to start a bit higher up. Yes. and we'll get into a fight. So we've nearly got it here. The deer will probably attack now, and that should be the end of it. Ooh, I think it's got like 3 different people impaled on its antlers at this point. Yeah, so we probably want to give this unit a bit of a break in future battles now. But we do only need, you can see though, they do recover a little bit between turns. But we have got another deer down here, but I think it's probably more prudent to go and discover these. So we found some nuts, some mixed nuts on our travels, and we'll see if we can get to this next curiosity here, and then we'll probably come back round here and kill this deer. Now, as we go as well, so I'll just explain what else is going on in the interface here. So you've probably noticed we've got these outlines, so these dotted lines here, these are different territories. So when you place a city, it claims all the territory in these boundaries. So you don't just claim a few tiles, you claim a territory. You also get penalties if you settle next door to other people's territory. So yes, if you're aggressively settling people and eyeing up their lands, they will get annoyed at you. Diplomacy seems to be a bit more, so far at least, it seems to be a bit more nuanced than other games in this sort of, in the 4X genre. So we'll see if we can get to this deer. It went up here somewhere, but I don't see it right now. And that should allow us to move to the ancient era. We still have 2 movement. We'll see if we can get this. So we've got some wild berries, and we've found the borders of the next territory. Now, when I was playing this off camera, it was as well the same map. So I think no matter what you do when you start the Victor Open Dev, it does appear to be the same map every time. I imagine it's likely the same enemies as well, and they'll probably do things similar to last time. So I might be able to kind of plan a bit ahead with my moves here. I think we may have lost that deer. Yes, I don't think we're getting that back. We found a science curiosity though, so we can head here and we'll go back, see if we can find one more deer. Right. In the distance, a thin cord of smoke cuts up into the clear blue skies. Fire. Calling a few tribesmen, you run closer, the smell of cindering bark and burning pine growing stronger with each footfall. You spy dancing flames and suddenly find yourselves on the edge of a settlement on fire. Many of the structures are ablaze, but even the smoke and flames, even with the smoke and flames, you can see these abodes are marvels of craftsmanship. You are about to direct your men to put out the fires with loose soil when you see short, shadowed figures running away. Youths that could become part of your tribe, if you give chase now. But that would mean losing these secrets of construction. What is your choice? So I can spawn a new army, or reduce the city defense research cost. I'm going to go with a new army, though, to be fair. And if they can find a source of food, we should be able to make even more tribesmen. And I've already, from playing again off camera, I've got my eyes on a certain bit of territory. I want to get my city over here. It's a pretty good spot. So I'm going to put my capital up there. We'll confirm battle. to attack the deer a couple of times. The deer should die in its next attempt to kill anyone. There we go. And there's our era star. So, unknown has entered the ancient era with the Olmecs. So someone has already got to the ancient era ahead of us. And what we will do is we will choose. So we've already had someone pick the Olmecs, so we can't choose those. Each culture is a different type. So we've got scientists there, we've got expansionists, we've got builders, agrarian, militarist, merchants, and aesthetes. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Aesthetes, I believe. If you click on them, you get to see their benefits. So, if we go with the Assyrians, we can build these forts, and we get these raiders, right? So we get a unique unit with each civilization. So we can get a unique anti-cavalry unit with the Babylonians, and we get bonuses to science. We get an astronomy house. The Egyptians are very production focused, so as you can see they're builders, so industry on districts producing industry, and it reduces their cost as well. They get pyramids they can put up for influence industry, and they can create these chariots. So chariots, as you can see there, they can move and fire as well, so pretty nasty units. The Harappans, I went as these last time, I'm going to go as them again, they were quite nice. You can get these essentially super scouts here. So they also generate money when collecting curiosities, so these are quite nice, these. And you can get basically bonuses to food production, and that will bolster your population early game. You can also get these you can also get the Hittites or Hittites. Some of these names I cannot pronounce, apologies, but again they've got combat strength, and that looks to be an upgrade for your outposts you build that you use to claim territories. Another chariot unit there. The Mycenaeans, which are another militarist, so units cost less and get experience bonuses, and they get a melee unit. Then we get the mercantile units where they've got archers, pyramids that give bonuses to money, and so on. And we get Phoenicians, which are kind of similar. They have cheaper buyout costs on constructibles, and they create these haven ports, and they get a unique boat that they can use early on. And let's see, we can also get the Zhou. So they get a unique building, a school, and they get another cavalry unit. And this seems to be a mixture of science and stability. So something there. The Olmecs that have been taken can create Olmec heads for influence food, and they get javelin throwers. So I'm going to be going as the Harappans, and we can just a bit of a confirmation screen here. We'll confirm our choice.
It's hard keeping up with the neighbors when they have the wheel grow lentils or catch fish. Tribes settle towns. Towns develop markets, and markets begin the exchange of goods, services, and most important, rumors and hearsay.
So, we are now a nomadic. We've now moved to ancient era as the Harappans, and we are going to see if we can settle. In fact, we'll see if we can settle our first city before we end. Yeah, we're definitely doing more damage to these deers now. We're definitely less vulnerable. So if you've noticed, we've now upgraded our units. So our tribespeople become the unique unit of the civilization we choose. So as we chose the Harappans with the Runner's unique unit, we are now, all of these are now Runners. But obviously they no longer have the nomadic ability, so we can no longer gain food to create new units. So as you can see here, I've not got a new unit from this. But I think we are going to move towards making our first city. Oh god, right, let's just stay away from that. I'm feeling ambitious, but I don't think a single unit will take them out. And we'll just skip a turn here and end. So we've got some fame, so that's added to our score, and the wonder we've discovered is Mount Roraima, I think that's pronounced. Again, apologies if I'm getting this completely wrong. Roraima is how I see that there. So it will give us influence, stability, and money. So if we just... Oh, we've got the Mycenaeans entering the game now. Right. So it's recommending we put a new civilization here, and we're going to put it here because we've got a nice mixture of a large amount of food and production. If we were to put it down here, we would have lots more food, but we wouldn't be able to build things very easily. So I'm going to get my unit doing that. And we're just going to station these here and wait. So stationing, by the way, is kind of like putting your unit in Overwatch. If you've played Civilization, it's basically... But they'll essentially, they'll not tell you that there's anything wrong unless an enemy passes by, and otherwise they'll stop bothering you that their turn hasn't been used. So, we found the Olmecs. Here they are. Cultural conversation started. We will enter the sphere of the Olmecs in 5 turns. Okay. Time to start your first city. Yep. Well, we'll wait until we've created the outpost first. Can we create an outpost here as well? 15 and 3 there. 17 and 6 there. $21 and 2. Probably here's a good spot. We'll try that. So we'll end our turn. We've got the Babylonians entering the game.
So,
So,
what do you say?
diplomacy
Must
then.
think, though I am inclined to say yes.
So we're going to move to trading luxuries with the Olmecs if we accept this. So the way that this works is we've got trade here. We can only have one trade treaty. So these treaties in each column are mutually exclusive. Obviously, if you're trading everything, then you're not only trading luxuries and you're not forbidding trade. So by accepting this, we're moving from forbid trade.
Happy tidings.
So we're moving from forbidding trade to now having luxuries being traded. We can reveal our capital, and we can go to sharing our maps. We can move from closed to open borders, and from tolerating skirmishes to non-aggression pacts. If anything happens with any issues we have here, we can generate grievances and demand things from them in the crisis tab. We've got trade if we want to exchange any goods, and then we can declare wars and propose alliances on the relations page. We can also, it's quite nice to see, we've got a bit of an overview here, so we've got some strengths there. We can see as well, so they're traitorous, they will not hesitate to break treaties. They are eager to develop relations with others, and they're vindictive. So they will never forget what happened in the past. They've got a hipster bias, so they favour ideological positions that are the least taken by other empires. So I don't know how much that will be in the end game, if it's just going to be certain civilizations and personalities on different characters have different traits, or if it's going to generate those automatically. But it'll be interesting to see how these systems develop as the game does. For now though, we're going to leave it there, and I'm going to start making my first city in a few turns. In the meantime, I am going to scout out. Ooh, boy, it'll be difficult. I'm going to scout out these areas, and we've got borders here, but I am going to also scout over this way. So this is why I kind of wanted these runners, sort of scouting units. Early game, I think a bit of extra growth and some scouts is a good shout. So I'm definitely liking the Harappans at the moment. We'll see though as the game goes on. I might get, obviously my opinion may change as I figure out what the hell I'm doing just about. So anyway, we're going to move to creating this into a city, and I think because this is my first city in my capital, it just automatically it becomes a city straight away. You don't have to wait and build it up. So we will, let's see, what shall we build first? So we can have production of food on neighbours. This is something I like as well. It will recommend certain tiles. So as you can see, the one here, it's saying this will give me plus 10 food. Here it will only give me plus 6, and I'll lose 2 production from changing that tile. Here I'll get plus 5, and minus 1 there. Terrible. But here I would get plus 10. We could also go for Farmer's Quarter, which here will give me plus 11, which might be a good idea. Or we can go for a Maker's Quarter. So a Maker's Quarter will, let's see, it will give us some industry, and give industry for each adjacent Maker's Quarter. It also gives us a production worker slot on the city. So we could get +8 production over here. So I do like how it recommends the best places to put them, gives you little tool tips, helps you plan your city out a bit better. So I may want to put a farmer's quarter up here, and maybe put the canal network elsewhere, seeing as it won't be as effective here. It's worth pointing out as well, so with our city, you may have noticed as we're building these, each one says minus stability. So you need to build structures that will offer stability, things like military buildings, barracks and so on. They will give you stability, help you maintain order, which allows you to create a larger, more sprawling city. So at the moment we're at 100%. If this goes down, we lower some of the benefits, as you can see at the bottom, where we're getting a few. We're settled at the moment. They either love or fear you, perhaps both. Positive events are more likely to occur in this city, so more likely to get better events. If we keep stability up like that, we get a small benefit. But if we let it dwindle too much, I don't know what the I don't quite know what the penalty would be at the moment, but I imagine it probably leads to things like rebellions and uprisings and so on. So we're going to want to keep our stability here high, but at the moment, seeing as it is so high, obviously with it just being a newly settled city, it's got no quarters and things that it needs building or anything, we can probably get away with some food here, and that will be what we do in that city. What I'm aiming to do, now you can chain adjacent outposts to a city. So rather than having a city in this territory and a city over here, I can just use the outpost that I've claimed here and just link it to this city, and they'll work as one giant city. And you can do this with several territories, so it's almost like you've got a city here and these are almost like adjacent towns. It's a nice system, that, and I do like it. What I aim to do, again having played it a little bit, is I intend to put this as a town to this city. Then I'm going to build another city above and link it to a few towns across the water, and then there's a few territories here that are quite nice. I think there's a natural wonder up here if I remember correctly, and we're going to try and link those into another city here, so we'll have a city and a town there as well. And then I might also conquer this territory here, but it is bordering on them, on the Olmecs, so that could trigger war. So just something to consider. And as you can see, we've got one civilization discovered, we've got another 6 to find, but I think that's going to do it for today. We are running at about 35 minutes in. We'll see how far we can get tomorrow, see if we can start building up our, well, first thing before we go, I probably want to pick some technology, and I think we'll start with perhaps writing, or maybe we should go domestication. Yeah, you know what, we'll go calendar domestication. We'll start there. And we're going to start working towards expanding outwards. But as I say, I'll leave it there. We'll probably need 2 or 3 videos for the ancient era, and we'll see if we can get all the way to the end before the open dev for the Victor build is over. So I'll see you next time, and thank you very much for watching.